So there's a question now about the ability of the nation state of Canada to clamp down on these potentially sovereign territories. And that's contested, and it will be contested for a long time, because it relates to something bigger than commerce, right? It relates to, at one facet, religion and our ability to commune with a non-human entity and enter treaty with a plant and say, like, take your contract law somewhere else. I have a contract with this sacred thing, and we will work together in relation to bring life to our people and wealth and prosperity and sustainability. There's another side, though, and that's the weird part, is that some of these nations have a lot of Hell's Angels, some of them have a lot of organized crime. There's a possibility that very powerful criminal organizations can roll up and essentially overpower a relatively poor government and then use that as a base of operations that's tough to get into legally because of the unique status of First Nations in Canada. So it's not easy, right? It's always going to be more complex than they tell you. To take this discussion further and to build upon the good work that the professor does and the Professor Mahoney does, I think we need to get your people and your tribes hosting our people and our tribes to talk about what we've learned, what tactics worked, what tactics didn't, where's the opportunity, where's the economy, where's the possibility. And the other final thing I'll say is I use the drum, is that I think the greatest challenge for all of us in a world dominated by Babylon and technology is how do we keep the spirit in this? That's always been the challenge. When you engage the colonizer, they have no spirit, and you become eventually like them. And that's hurt my people deeply. That's hurt my family deeply. It hurts me deeply. And so I just ask as we reflect, and I hope someday the tribes of Rastafari will invite my national chief and my chiefs here to take time together. But how do we keep the spirit, the drum, those good things? How do we keep that present in this work? So something to end on. All right. Looking back through my ancestors and through my family and through myself, I wish we had understood when the predator first came that if we don't seize control, they would seize control of us. What I think I mean by that is if you don't do it yourself, they will do it for you. There's in my view, two reasons to avoid this. One, that means an other can tell you what you are, but worse, and I know this from our territory, any power you give them over you, they will not relinquish easily. It will be a struggle for generations to get back what was always yours. Following on that point, I wish my people had seen and understood the power that comes from defining something. The map of the law in the form of copyright and patent and national and international legal structures are maps, but they have power. It's like a weird kind of magic. And unfortunately, in the 21st century, we too have to bring good spirit to that system. That's the challenge of modern law. I wish my people had understood that in the way that they defined us, they divided us. And I think that's because it was designed to divide. So I would encourage you and your people to design and think about a structure that is not designed to divide and break apart, but rather bring together under one love. And I don't know how that works, but I do know that that's a good principle, because what this, and this is related, this card describes rights, but it's this that describes responsibilities for me, right? And the thing is, what if this card had to carry both? I have a right to hunt, fish, and trap, but my obligations written on my body are the responsibilities to be a part of the sacred dance of life and death in my territory. There's no card given by the Canadian government to honor that responsibility. I bet you there's responsibilities in their sacraments. I will bet there's obligations. I see there's no bones in this space. those obligations, maybe you can't define them, but this card that tells me what I am in the eyes of the Canadian government as a status Indian has nothing to do with the obligations I carry as Echo Dene and Daneza. So maybe there's something there that you need to avoid. If it's a card that only has rights but no responsibilities, it becomes a tool for division.